Glad you had a chance to stop by today. Hey, recently we had an opportunity to take a trip to Stone State Park in just outside of Sioux City, Iowa, and camp for the weekend. It was a beautiful weekend, a little rainy on Saturday, got a little cool on Saturday night, but Sunday was a beautiful day. We'd had a great time. There's so much to do inside this park. There's a great little campground. There's a bunch of trails you can hike on. There's Turtle Lake that you can go visit, which we did go do. We hiked around Turtle Lake. My wife loves to hike, and she happened to get us on a trail that I think was more of a goat path or a wildlife trail or something. So it wasn't very well cut. It was a little challenging, but we had a really good time. Had to cross a little stream at the end to get back to where our vehicle was parked. But we still had a great time. So sit back, enjoy, and I hope you have fun with our little trip to Stone State Park.
Stone State Park is a beautiful little park that is located just outside of Sioux City, Iowa, which makes it even more amazing that it is located so near a metropolitan area. We took the 44-mile drive, which takes about an hour because you have to go through some local traffic, which can sometimes be a snarl. The campground itself is nestled inside of a grove of trees. It makes it really shady. Lots of nice sounds of the breezes going through the trees and things. We camped in site number 11, which was right at the turn before you go up to some tent camping areas. And then you can go on up the hill from there to a few more campsites. It wasn't a super busy weekend. There was a few people there, but our site was located close to the shower houses, which was kind of nice. They do have on-site trash for things there. The only downfall to it is there's no dump station, so you need to make arrangements for getting rid of those things in your tanks when you leave the park. The campsite we had for the weekend was actually quite nice. It was in a fairly secluded little corner of the campground, although it was on the main road where you come in. Nobody could park on the one side of us, and we had a nice view of the trees and the floral and the fauna that was up on the hill, and the chance to see some wildlife if it did wander into that part. We had a great place to put out our awning and sit underneath of it with our chairs. It was just really a great view for the weekend with the campsite. Again, it was pretty quiet, close to the restrooms and the shower houses, which was convenient, and easy access to some walking trails there, and the trash was real close. Good electrical connection as well. Just a really nice little campsite. The dogs certainly enjoyed it, and we enjoyed sitting out there having our coffee and eating breakfast in the morning. So it was overall a really good place to park our camper. Even though day one started out a bit rainy and damp, we did manage to get a hike in that day. It ended up being a really, really nice hike. We didn't hike real far, maybe a little bit over a mile and a half. Through some marked trails that they had. The Dakota Point Trail was one of them, and the Buffalo Run Trail was the other. They were adjoining trails that we were on. We had a really good time on those trails. They were well cut. It was an easy hike. Had a really, really good afternoon going out. Sun came out part of the time, but the temperature was really, really reasonable. The bugs weren't bad. The dog just loves hiking. The dog and my wife are both in their element when they go out for a hike and a walk. So overall, it was a great time. The hiking we did on day 2 was equally as much fun as day 1. The weather started out much better on day 2 after a chilly 37-degree night on Saturday night. However, we took off on this hike and just drove through the park and found an open trail and took off on it. We were heading down towards Turtle Lake, is where we were actually heading on the hike. We took some of the paths off to the side that were cut really well, circled around, seen a lot of really cool sights. And it was on this part of the hike that probably one of the coolest things I've ever had happen hiking did. A deer cut across an open area, leaped over the trail, probably about 6-7 foot up in the air, and went up the hill. We did get a chance to get several shots of that deer, and you can see him in these photos. Had a really good time. Then we managed to get on a hike that trail that wasn't nearly as well marked. We kind of went up and down and over and around, pretty much a goat path or a nature trail of some sort. I'm glad we really continued on it though, because it really was an awesome time. It took us a little bit longer to finish this hike just because of that part of it. When we finished it up, we ended up at a little structure that was built by the Rotary Club back in the 40s, which was a really cool little thing to look at. We finished up our hike there and headed back to our vehicle and then back to the campsite to grab some lunch.
All right, everybody, that about sums up our trip to Stone State Park that we recently had. We hope you had a good time going along with us through this. We sure did. I know we'll be going back there again. It's just a beautiful place to go, especially in the fall. And you can see all the fall colors and the leaves falling. Lots of wildlife running around. So it was a really good time. As always, if you are a veteran or a current member of the armed forces, we appreciate your service and thank you for that. Have a great day, everybody.